Hello and welcome to Money 2.0. My name is Lee. Would you kindly introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
My name is David Park. I'm the founder and CEO of Fintech Automation. And I started my career, I hate to say it, over 30 years ago in financial services when everything wasn't so digital. And so I started trading derivatives in New York. In fact, I worked at the World Trade Center, number 2, that went down. And then I transitioned into running a merchant banking fund for about 9 years. And then I took off about 7 years or so, in a kind of a weird, find yourself, do good deed, and, personal growth. Not sure what happened to me exactly, but, went a little bit haywire. And then I also started getting involved in financial technology. So although I started off in the traditional financial services side, a big part of what I was doing prior to even running a merchant banking fund was an acquisition of various different technology companies back in those days. If you remember, long before SaaS, mobile, anything, it was what's called on-prem, meaning like you had a server, you had computers, and we owned an engineering firm that would tie together all these particular servers, which is today commonly known as an API, because now everything is on a SaaS platform. And so about 7 years ago, we founded Fintech Automation as what's called an infrastructure as a service company. And what that basically means is like when you're interfacing with an app, let's say you're going to a bank app, you're really interfacing at what's called the front end, your user experience. It's a lot easier, but by the time you push that button, that data is going to travel someplace, right? If you ever wonder how that travels into your bank, into the Federal Reserve, and how you make those deposits, that rail and the technology where that data travels is over 40-some years old, hasn't been modernized in 50 years.
Wow.
So basically, it's like having this 2022 great Ferrari engine car running on these bumpy highways. That's right, and that experience isn't very, very good. But you don't see it until you get on that highway, right? And so what we started to do was modernize those particular rails, and so we work both with other fintech companies and financial institutions. We a lot of times bridge the gap between those companies, helping the fintech companies doing implementation on the traditional financial services companies, and then a lot of these other banks and these other types of institutions still utilize what's called legacy systems. These are old systems that work well, but they really can't help them scale, and it really has a hard time creating a digital presence. And so what we do is we kind of bridge the gap between the old and the new.
And repair a little bit of the highway.
Repair, and we charge a little bit of a toll for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how we make our money.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Yep.
And how do you feel about winning the award? Please state the award that you have received and share your motivation and what influenced your journey into winning your award.
Let me take that maybe backwards. So part of the reason why we started on the infrastructure side was really we focused on the small to medium-sized businesses and the financial institutions. So if you take a look at what is out there from a bank perspective, you don't really see these kind of smaller commercial banks anymore. They're just dying little by little, right? The JP Morgans, the Citibank, and nothing against them, they're just getting larger and larger. So what happens is when these small community banks that basically know their community extremely well start dying off, the lending, the money towards lending out to the small, medium-sized businesses within that community also start to diminish. So even though there's tremendous amount of capital out there, the problem is it's not getting to those small businesses.
Right.
And in large part because, well, it's a lot better for a larger bank to lend $4 million to a business rather than $400,000 to a business, because it takes the same amount of time, but you can't make as much money. So anything under $1 million makes it very, very difficult. So what we do is we have been traditionally helping these small community banks modernize and make it affordable for them to spend time with the small to medium-sized businesses, and then being able to reduce a lot of that friction in those bumps on the road I was talking about, and make it faster. They can do much more efficiently, much more cost effectively, and then it gets down into the small businesses. And those small businesses are really the heartbeat of America's economy.
Yes.
If they die, don't know what's going to happen to us, right? And so that's a very big passion project that I was probably working on the 7 years that I was telling you that I was on hiatus for. Yep.
Okay, great. Well, so glad to hear that. And what do you think about the Money 2.0 conference? How has your experience been so far here?
It's been amazing, just meeting a lot of people, networking with people like yourself, and getting to know people across the country, coming in different perspectives, venture capital people, to technology people, to SMB folks. And so got to meet a lot of great folks, and just glad to be here.
Well, we are so happy for you to be here. Now tell us where we can find your company's information online. Do share.
Fintech Automation is just www.fintechautomation.com. And we do
how do
have
you spell fintech, is it?
FINTEC, which stands for financial technology. And then because we automate the movement of that data, automation. So Fintech Automation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not one of those cool names where I misspell it or, but
It's short and simple.
that's right.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations on receiving your award. We hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference, enjoy Vegas, and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having me.
you.
Appreciate it.